July 10th, Yasodanandan documents in his diary that Tamal Krishna told him about the July 9th letter. Yasodanandan runs into Tamal, and Tamal shows him the July 9th letter or directive with Srila Prabhupada's signature. Tamal tells Yasoda that this is how initiations were to be conducted now and in the future after Srila Prabhupada leaves. Tamal tells him it is all recorded on tapes. On the screen, we can watch as Yasodanandan tells this story himself. Again, this video is from the North American GBC meetings held in 1990.
I'm reading from the original notes. This conversation took place on the 10th of July in the morning. Tamal Krishna Maharaj comes out of Prabhupada's room. I was at that time coming from the Gurukul, having come from the Gurukul building near Prabhupada's garden. I'm using the abbreviated format here. TKG, Haribol. Yashoda, did you see this? YNS, no, what is it? TKG, this is signed by Prabhupada. In parenthesis, he pointed out to Srila Prabhupada's signature in the left-hand bottom corner. I read the entire letter and then asked him, YNS, what does this all mean? TKG, devotees have been writing to Srila Prabhupada asking for initiations, and now Prabhupada has named 11 Rtviks who can initiate on his behalf. Prabhupada said that others can be added, YNS, and when Prabhupada departs, TKG, there'll be Rtviks. That's what Prabhupada said. I would like to point out at this time that I did make a mistake in my original version in the Vedic Village Review. I forgot to mention the following statement by Tamal Krishna Maharaj. It's all on tape. Haribol, I had to return to the Gurukul, deeply thinking of the meaning of the conversation with Maharaj.
2 points here. One is that Tamal Krishna informs Yasodanandan that after Srila Prabhupada departs, the Rtviks will continue to initiate. But a disconcerting point is that Tamal told Yasodanandan that everything was on tape. And that has been something Gauridas Pandit has argued as well for the past 35, 40 years. He also attended those meetings, and he says that it was his duty to press the record button. He says he knows the tapes were made, but no such tapes, other than the first tape made on July 7th, have shown up. It was in those other tapes, in those other meetings, that Srila Prabhupada specifically discussed the Rtvik Representative system. And according to Gauridas Pandit, Srila Prabhupada had clearly explained in those other meetings that this was the system that he wanted for ISKCON to follow for after he departs. What happened to those tapes? It was Tamal Krishna's duty to send those tapes to the tape ministry. Why the tapes on this topic wound up missing? It is suspicious. Devotees have been suspicious for many years. What happened to them and who was responsible for that? The GBC simply dismiss Gauridas's and Yasodanandan's claims that the tapes were even ever recorded. Why just those tapes are missing? That has fueled a number of, and why just those tapes are missing? That has fueled a number of devotees' speculative conspiracy ideas. I will come back to this shortly at the end of the July timeline. However, another curious thing is, according to Yaso's diary, it was on July 8th that Yasodanandan first heard that Srila Prabhupada was meeting with Tamal and speaking about authorizing a Rtvik guru who would perform the initiations on behalf of Srila Prabhupada after he departs. Then on July 9th, after 4 p.m., Yaso wrote in his diary that Tamal Krishna was headed back into Srila Prabhupada's room, and on his way in, he told Yasodanandan that Srila Prabhupada instructed him to type up a letter to be mailed to all the temples that would explain the Rtvik system he wanted for after he leaves. Yasodanandan asked to see a copy of the letter, and Tamal agreed that he would show him after it was completed. Even though the actual letter is dated July 9th, from Yaso's diary entries, we can see that the letter was not yet completed by 4:20 p.m. on the 9th. Then at 9:25 a.m. on the 10th, Tamal comes out of Srila Prabhupada's room, sees Yasodanandan, and shows him the letter along with Srila Prabhupada's signature and told him that this is the process from now on. and also after Srila Prabhupada departs. Even though the letter is dated July 9th, it appears that Srila Prabhupada may not have actually signed it until the 10th, which would be understandable knowing that Tamal was going back into Srila Prabhupada's room after 4:20 on the 9th to continue working on the letter. It hadn't been in a final form yet. It is fully reasonable to assume that it was later in that same evening on the 9th when Tamal sat down and typed up the final letter, dated it the 9th, the day he was typing it, but because it was late, he wasn't able to take it back into Srila Prabhupada for his final approval and signature until the morning of the 10th. That would make sense. But just see how many days and how many meetings Srila Prabhupada worked on this, despite him being so weak and ill, just to assure that the letter stated what he wanted it to state.